Can you talk about the conflict sometimes that comes between having a child by your daughter and having a child by your son?
Right. It can be really, really hard for the mother-in-law of, of the woman who's having the baby. She has a relationship with her mother already. And so she can do different, she'll treat her mother differently than she'll treat you. It's just the way it works. I mean, there's nothing wrong about that. The mother-in-law in this case can feel very hurt by the fact that, for example, the the mother gets to be in, be there for the baby's birth, but the mother-in-law does not get to. Well,
That's
yes.
me. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because your daughter knows that you're a safe person. She has a relationship with you that goes back years and years and years. Not every woman has that with her own mother, and there are mothers who are not invited into the delivery room. That's up to the couple that's having the baby. And any parent, any grandparent, whether it's the in-laws or not, need to respect that choice of those parents. As a mother-in-law, if your daughter-in-law is having a baby, um, it's important for you to create the relationship with her, not with her as an extension of your son. And the more that you cultivate that relationship, the more that you nurture her as a person, you will have a much stronger relationship, not only with her, but with your grandchildren. And that can
Mm,
be really important because not every partnership lasts, right?
sure.
And when things go south, so often the in-laws, the mother's in-laws lose contact with that grandchild because if it is a divisive split, then sometimes she does not want to continue that relationship with the in-laws. If you've already proven to her that you see her as a person, that you are there to support her outside of the marriage, outside of her role as the mother of your grandchildren, she's much more likely to continue including you in those children's lives.
With that, I was having a conversation with a woman who was a mother-in-law, and she was saying, "Well, I've been told I should just say to her, I'm coming on Monday. Do you want 2 o'clock or 6 o'clock?" And what I thought that was wrong. I'm like, why don't you say, can I bring dinner over one day this week? Some way to help them. So could you give tips to maybe some mother-in-laws who want to spend more time over there, but with a newborn, they don't know the right thing to do?
Yeah. Oh, it's a tough one. And again, you are exactly right. Offering help that may be something they can use, but not imposing it. You don't say, I'm bringing dinner on Tuesday. You say, can I bring dinner on Tuesday? I can just drop it off if that's easier for you. What would you like? I'm going to the grocery store. Can I pick anything up for you? Is there anything I can do to help? Can I come walk the dog next week while you guys are recovering? Offering help that doesn't assume that you are welcomed, assume that they want you there, assume that you have a right to be there, is the best thing you can do.
The father's point of view, the father of the newborn child. And the situation was the mother of the mom came in and he kind of felt left out. Can you
Yeah.
talk about that situation and what to do in that case?
It's really important as a grandparent to let these parents find their feet. And that means sitting back, letting them figure out how to do things, not coming in and swooping in and saving them from the mistakes they're making, and certainly not excluding one parent or the other. And too many grandparents do come in and just focus on this baby as though it's an extension of themselves. I hear from a lot of parents who will say, my mother-in-law will not stop talking about how this baby looks exactly like her side of the family. It's like she thinks I had nothing to do with it. And when you go back and look at my baby pictures, they're identical to this baby. So, we see what we want to see. But it is important to make sure that you're giving this new family room, giving them space and not coming in and taking over and acting as another parent.
Another thing I see, and I see this happening to grandparents, the babysitting, the watching the kids. And then
Burnout,
the
baby,
burnout. Yeah.
babysitting
And
burnout.
the babysitting burnout. And you see some grandparents, you feel like, but I don't say anything because I'm not the grandparent. They're being taken advantage of. But then I don't know their life. Like they may want to be with their grandchild, but you do see where they can't do these other things that they wanted to do later in life because they have to be there for the kids. Eh,
Yes.
That is a tough thing because situations are so different. It's different. Childcare is so expensive.
Right
So I can
there,
see why you want to
homes are
help your child.
expensive and
Home,
jobs are
yeah,
hard.
harder to
Yeah.
get. Cost of living is so much more than it was when we were at their age. I don't know any advice for those situations.
Oh, well, you hit on a huge issue because that's actually one of the top search terms that brings people to my website is grandparent babysitting burnout. It's a big problem. And it's, as you said, a really complex one because sometimes there is no other choice for that family. But it's important for grandparents and parents to be able to talk about that. I know I had one grandmother write to me. She had agreed to watch her grandchild, her first grandchild when they were born. And then parents had another child, so now she has two of them, a 2-year-old and a 4-month old. And she's not in great health. She is not as physically able as she needs to be to keep up with a toddler, not to mention take care of a newborn at the same time. Parents are paying her, but paying her a pittance. I think it was like $80 a week. Um, and she was afraid that if she said anything, that if she brought up to them that she just physically was unable to do this, that they would not let her see her grandchildren. And so it was heartbreaking. But you've got to have that conversation. Parents have got to be find a way to help. Maybe you help pay for childcare. Maybe you find a teenager in the neighborhood who can come help you in the afternoons. A 12-year-old in the neighborhood could come help you in the afternoons and play with the kids. Find ways to make it so that you can get a break. When you agree to babysit your grandchildren, make it very clear to parents that you need a trial period because you may find that you really cannot do it. It's hard enough giving up the things, missing your book club every month or not getting to take that trip you wanted to take, but sometimes it's just physically too demanding. I will tell you, I had to step in and help with my grandkids for a period of about 6 weeks, and the first week that I was there, my daughter-in-law was very ill. My son was still trying to work and take care of her, and I was in charge of the kids, pretty much in charge of keeping the household running. Three children, they were 3, 5, and 7 at the time. And about the third day, I called my husband and said, "It doesn't look like I'm going to be home anytime soon, and I need you because I cannot do this. It is exhausting. Just getting the meals and the dishes, and not to mention getting people to school and back and keeping everybody entertained and trying to keep up with the laundry." So it gave me a huge, huge respect for today's parents because you do forget how very, very, very overwhelming it is to have small children. But also for grandparents, before you get in too entrenched in, being sure that babysitting is what you want to do, have a trial period to see if it really is something you can handle.
That is such a great idea. A trial period. That way nobody gets hurt. It either works
Right.
out or it doesn't. And I've said to my daughter, I'm more than happy to help, but not every day. Because I
Yeah.
think I don't want to discipline my grandchildren. Like
Right.
I did that already. I
Yes.
want to enjoy them. And I think if you're doing 9 to 5 every single day, you don't enjoy them. Then it's like
Right.
you're
You
raising
can't.
your you want to be the grandparent, and that's like a step back from that. And that's so hard because, like Bridget said, it is such a hard economy right now that I don't know how young people are doing it. I really don't.
Yeah.
You brought up the
Oh,
holidays. And that can be such an issue too, because some families demand every Christmas. You know, you might have a very domineering grandparent on one side.
What are you talking about, Bridget?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Just kidding.
oh, I have to
Yeah.
give my parents so much credit when my older sister and I got married. We got married in the same year, and my dad said to us, "Okay, I recognize you now have other responsibilities." This was, I think, before we even had children. He said, "But I want you to come home every other Christmas, and I want you to come home the same year." So that became the routine in our family. And we still, every other Christmas, everybody gathers. I mean, now it's, 35 of us, but we all still gather at my mom's house. Everyone who can, obviously, it's not always possible, but it made it so much easier all those years knowing that our responsibilities were very clear. This was the year that we would gather if we could, and on the off year we could, go with the other grandparents, do things on our own. And it's really important for grandparents to lay out, and what my dad did was, here is my expectation, can you help me fulfill this, right? We could. Now, not every family is going to be able to. And there were certainly years that we couldn't. There were certainly years that, we lived overseas, or, we were, different things were happening. But it was so nice to have a clear expectation from the grandparent communicated to us in a way that we could come back and have a conversation about it. Too many grandparents just make that assumption about what's going to happen. They, you know, I know Christmas is an extremely important holiday to me. I even got married right after Christmas because I just think it's the most magical time of year. But I also recognize that it's going to happen whether everybody's there or not. And I'm not relying on getting my entire family together to make that holiday special. So you as a grandparent need to have that conversation with parents. What what do you want to do this holiday season? Do you guys want to come home for Hanukkah? Do you guys want to get together at New Year's? Where should we gather for Thanksgiving? Oh, you want to do that instead? Great, we'll do something else. You have to open up those conversations because there are a lot of we make a lot of assumptions about, we tie so many things to the holidays, to our traditions, to what we think should continue. And, those don't always work for the realities of today's life.
Right. There's so many factors too, because there could be situations where people are divorced, and then
Right.
you're adding on a whole nother sets of
Right.
grandparents.
Yeah, I've heard from parents who are like, we have five different people we're supposed to go see on Christmas Day. Like, that is not possible with an 18-month-old. And they all are getting mad if we don't show up on their schedule. Well, parents, I don't know if grandparents, you have to understand how hard it is to do anything with a baby. And then there's the whole issue of illness too. I mean, parents today are much more aware of the dangers of things like RSV, which
Right.
peak around the holidays. They may not want their child, their baby, their 4-month-old around all these people. You have to respect that.